As you know, I've been doing a study for quite a few years actually on this idea of mindfulness, of being present. You know, we've looked at the devotional traditions through Brother Lawrence and St. John of the Cross, and now toward the Advaitic experience of that same through Ili Chiara and Ramana Maharshi and Sri Ramakrishna and the Divine Mother, all of these great sages who have given us these wonderful insights. And in one of Ili's poems, he's always talking about this theme. Actually, every poem that he writes is about this being in the presence of this divine. And he has 3 paragraphs today in the reading that I did this morning that I really was inspired to share with you. There's a lot in them, and I think the more that you contemplate them and think about what he's trying to say, it might be a great benefit for you. It might be something that really works for you. I know that I've found quite a bit of, movement in my practice, or a kind of an awakening of some inner peace from practicing some of these things and just contemplating them. He says, neither the past nor the future finds any reflection in one's mind because they're unreal, right? You can't go to the past, you can't go to the future. Our only experience is of the present. And so they use that information, quite honestly, to say that that's all that there is. So bring your mind to this moment. In this circumstance, I watch, I listen, and I live directly the phenomenon of pure presence and pure awareness, defined as boundless love. So that's where Brother Lawrence would take the ball and run with it, that this moment is the I am, the presence of God. And to be aware of this moment, to be fully aware of it, and not distracted by any of the inner world or any of the imagined spaces of past and future, we can really experience that inner joy to the extent with which he says in the next paragraph, the happiness to which every human being aspires, consciously or unconsciously, can be encountered in a real way only in the state of absolute silence. And this state of absolute silence doesn't have anything to do with your ears. It has to do with your inner world. Being able to calm down that mind so that you're not lost in the buzz, the internal buzz that's always bouncing back and forth between past and future, and obstructing your experience of the present as it is without a definition or a presumption. He says that this happiness that we're all aspiring to can only be found in this state of absolute silence, when what you are manifests purely in the moment as it always is, but not usually what you're conscious of, because we're usually lost up here in the local mind, thinking about all kinds of things, drawing conclusions about all kinds of things, just that constant state of movement. This simple, clear, and all-pervading happiness is completely devoid of any material or imaginary motivations, which means that this lasting happiness that we have within us does not need anything outside of itself in order to be discovered, in order to be experienced. That really just silencing all the rest is enough for this natural state of a human being, this bliss which is your own, to manifest. And there's an important lesson in that these imagined worlds we live in, this world of thought, is almost always the cause of our discontent. Identifying with those circulating thoughts which just arise and really in truth have nothing to do with us as ourself, the true self, the soul, the spirit, that the identity with them is what drags us up and down and puts us through loops and feeds our discontent and our ideas of ourself, which we have to fulfill or act on or draw our future around. To let go of all of that and just be a human being in the present moment with no additions, no requirements, no adjuncts. This is where you'll find your bliss, because the sages, all of the sages, say that our nature is this love, this wisdom, this existence. You find it even in the Christian scriptures, that in the Christian scriptures we are created in the image of God. That means within us is that divine image, that reflection of God. And the nature of God is love. And so if you are able to quiet all of your ego definition, all of that space which is constantly on the move, what remains is that image of God. What remains is the moment, the I am, which is also divine. And in that sacred space, you manifest as pure love, and the contentment, the happiness, the bliss that's not dependent on conditions is yours. But because it's not conditional, it doesn't move and change and flash. It's not glamorous in that sense. It doesn't attract us, which is why it remains such a secret. We're so interested, looking through the lens of the mind with all that it presents to us, that we never turn around and look behind, within, the experience of being, all of reality bottlenecks there within you. And the source of all of that reflection, the source of what you are, is divine love, within which you can find your contentment that you're so eagerly seeking through your senses and through the outside world. Sri Nisargadatta says something very beautiful. He says, "Do you not realize it is your quest for happiness itself that prevents you from seeing your own happiness?"